Welcome, Stashers, to another episode of Stache Sports. Man, we had a whirlwind week of sports. We have two new champions in hockey and basketball, which we'll get into later in today's episode. First, we'll touch on the Pirates. The Pirates lost to the Miami Marlins and only won 1-2 to the Marlins, and the bullpen blew the game with Paul Skeens. I know Paul Skeens gave up 2 home runs, but when the bullpen came in, that blew it. But we'll maybe catch up more on that later. But first, we're going to talk about the UFC fights last night. And if you haven't seen it, I'll wave my hand up when I'm done talking about it so you don't get spoilers. But boy, there's a really good UFC fight last night. All of them were knockouts, and the last one was called in the last round due to stoppage because of injury. And that guy's face, Ilia Tupidov's face, was pretty messed up. So he probably won't be able to see well today. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. But the Freedom 250 card did not disappoint. I got this one wrong because I picked S. Garcia to win by knockout or submission, but D. Lopes won by a knockout and TKO in round 2 at 2:42 in round 2 of the fight. He won KD. He had 24 out of 66 TKO and TOT strikes, 24 out of 66 SIG strikes, 21 out of 57 of the head strikes, 2 to 8 of the body, 1 to 1 legs, and 0.5 control. And has 0 to 1 takedowns. And had no submission attempts. The other guy didn't have a KD. He was on his TOT strikes, he was 47 for 100, 47, 100 on his SIGR strikes. His head strikes were 33 for 89. Her head was, he had victory by punches. That's what this category is. His body was 3.4, his legs were 11 out of 11. He had controlled 0.0 and his had 0 takedowns and 0 submissions. But by a winner by knockout is D. Lopes from Brazil. I mean, he was really excited to win. He jumped up on the thing. It was nice to see too, because also during the fights, they had the fighters come out the Oval Office in the White House, walk down the Oval Office and through the White House, so that was cool to see. It was nice to see the military men salute them. I mean, I get it, some people didn't like it, it wasn't their cup of tea, but for first UFC fight at the White House, that was a pretty good thing. And the weather had no impact on it, and there was no people rioting or anything, but that was a good first fight. I mean, you like the knockouts and TKO, I like the knockouts too. I mean, sometimes I like it when they go all around, but I do like the knockouts. I do like it if it go past the first round and not just like 11 seconds. So some of the fight, I mean, there was a fight, but that was a decent fight. And next we had our first 2 Americans. We had Kyle Dukas from Philadelphia and Bo Nickel from the University of Penn State. Both from Pennsylvania. I was looking for the guy from Penn State, and I got that one right, but I think I picked Bo Nickel, but I can't remember. And he won by knockout TKO in round 1 of 4 minutes and 43 seconds of that fight. That was a rather quick fight. Rather quick fight. But Bo Nickel's victory. And Bo Nickel put his name in the UFC last night and showed the company that he's here to compete. Congratulations to Bo Nickel, and congratulations to Penn State. He had 1 KOD. His TKO TOT strikes were 44 for 53, 16 for 24, 15 for 20 for the head, 0.1 to the body, 1.1 to the legs, and 3.1 control. And he had 3 minutes and 34 seconds of control. And he had 1 takedown and no submission attempts. The other guy was 0 for KD, probably knockout, whatever. His TOT strikes were 21 out of 36. His SGR strikes were 2 out of 7. His head was 1 out of 6. OL body 1-1 and 0.0 on control. I mean, they're both pretty good. They're both pretty equal. But the other guy came out on top, Bo Nickel, and Bo Nickel looked good. I mean, that was the second good fight to go up to the good first fight. I mean, if you like knockouts, he had all good knockouts, except for the last fight that got called by a doctor's description. Or I guess the doctor in the call, because the doctor's going to call enough. But we'll get to that here in a minute. But that was a good fight by Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel definitely put his name on the board, and I like most of their interviews. That's a pretty good interview afterwards from Bo Nickel. But they all go and try to shake Trump's hand afterward or do something with Trump or give Trump a present. So that was nice to see that too. But Bo Nickel won last night, and I think I picked him. He's the first United States person to win on the card of the White House fight. So that was good to see Bo Nickel do that and represent the University of Penn State, even though I'm a Pitt fan. That was nice to see Bo Nickel do that. And Bo Nickel, congratulations. I mean, that was a good fight. Both of them were back and forth between each other throughout the fight. But Bo Nickel came out victory knockout. I mean, that was a good knockout. But the first knockout, we're going back to the first one, the D. Lopes knockout, that was pretty wild. I mean, Garcia was on the ground for a little more longer, because sometimes when they knock him out, they're on the ground for a little bit before they get back up. But Garcia was on the ground for a little longer, and that was a pretty gnarly knockout in that first round that D. Lopes had. I mean, that one was gnarly, a good knockout too, but that first one was pretty gnarly, and he was down for a while before he got called up, before he got back up to shake his hand and then have a referee say who the winner was in the first fight. The second fight was good too. I mean, like I said, they're both back and forth. I mean, sometimes they're on the ground with each other, but they're both back and forth in that fight, so that was nice to see. And that was a great fight, the second fight, and the first American to win is Bo Nickel at the White House event, and he's making his name. He's making his name now, and people are gonna know who Bo Nickel is now in the UFC. And if you just do the UFC, the first two fights in my purse, if you just do the UFC or like me, if I watch sometimes, the first two fights are really good, in my personal opinion, and I think they're good. Especially by punches, it's the middle, and they're both middleweight. Mike Ruffin won another round, but I was surprised. I thought Michael Chandler would have a longer round than a round one fight. I know Michael Chandler's older. He's in his 40s and he's getting up there. But I thought Michael Chandler would have more of a fight. But then Ruffin came to play. For Brazil. The Brazil guys are pretty good last night, besides the one to co-main event. But the Brazil guys looked pretty good last night, showing why Brazil has a strong representation in the UFC. But the Brazil guys looked really good last night, showing up for the UFC Freedom 250. Oh, knockdowns. He had 2 knockdowns in that fight. I mean, there was a couple fights like that. He had 2 knockdowns. He had 21 for 40. The Brazilian guy for 41 and TKO strikes, and 19-40 in SDR strikes, and 16 and 36 in head, and 1.2 in the body, and 2.2 in the legs, and 0.3 in control, and 0.10 takedowns and 0 submissions. I mean, he looked pretty good. Both of those men were pretty good, and that's the lightweight division, but they're both pretty good. I mean, Michael Chandler did have a couple decent punches in there, a couple decent opportunities in there, but at the end of the day, it was Ruffin who won, and won by knockout. I mean, that's interesting. The first 3 fights of that card were all by knockout in round 1 and round 2. They didn't even need the judges. I mean, the judges were there still trying to score, but none of these have gone to submission yet. Well, we have another submission, the distance, excuse me. None of them gone to distance, so we have one that goes to distance. I don't know. I mean, I do know, but you'll find out here in a minute if you haven't watched it. Michael Chandler has 0 knockdowns. He was 3 for 10, or 3 for 12 in TKO, TOT strikes, and 3 for 12 in SIG strikes. Head 2 for 7, body over 1, and legs 1 for 2. And takedowns 0 for 3. But congratulations to Ruffin and the Brazilian guy. I mean, that's another upset by the Americans. They didn't win the card, but you don't know what's going to win now. And I mean, these fights that's why it's beauty about these fights. You don't know the outcome, but that's good to have 2 good knockouts. And that was a decent knockout too. The first 3 fights are pretty good knockouts and pretty good fights in my opinion. I think it all was going well without any hiccups. And I think Trump was putting a good show. I think this was one of the better UFC cards I've seen in a while. And I think Gane White and them put on a good show, even if some of these bigger names weren't in it. But I think they really put on a good show so far. And now we had our first heavyweight fight versus Josh Holquist and Derek Lewis. I mean, Josh Holquist looked a lot better. He used to be a Philadelphia 49ers practice squad player, but Josh Holquist looked a lot better. I mean, Lewis looked okay, good too, but Lewis near the end of the match in the second round, because that went to round 2, was starting to look gassed and didn't look so good. I don't know if it's because Lewis might have been a little overweight or what it was, but Lewis wasn't looking good. I mean, I know Lewis did have a couple decent attacks, a couple decent attempts to knock him out, and a couple decent hits to the face, and a couple decent blows. But it really looked like, to me, Josh Holquist was in charge of that fight, knowing why he won by knockout and TKO in round 2, 409 in the round. I mean, he had 1 KD knockdown. I mean, he was a one-time cat. He kept getting back up, but he didn't look like, out of ever fighters, in my personal opinion, Derek Lewis didn't look like he was competing that hard like the other ones were, and looked kind of gassed earlier on in the match. Lewis did. I mean, this is a quite an impact. His TOT strikes were 105 at 138. And the other guy was 8 for 40, and Lewis was 8 for 41. His SDR strikes are 86 to 117. Holquist, and he was 7 for 40. His head strikes were 74 for 103. And the other guy was head for 5 for 37. His body was 7 for 9, and the other guy was 2 for 2. So he had more body shots. He was 5 for 5 on the legs. I mean, he was doing pretty good on leg shots. Holquist. That's probably why he won and knocked him out. I mean, Holquist was one of the good ones too. I don't really know who he was, so that's my first time seeing Holquist. But Josh Holquist made his name for himself, even before and after the fight, which we'll get to in a minute. See, he had 4 minutes and 4 seconds to control. I mean, it definitely looked like he was controlling the majority of that fight. I mean, I can't believe how good he was. I mean, he did good and did a lot of good. Holquist did pretty good and controlled that fight. I mean, he was 2 for 3 in takedowns and 1 submission attempt. I mean, he didn't submit him, but it looked pretty close. If it wasn't for the bell, it might have happened because Lewis was getting up, but I think he was saved by the bell in the first round, or it might have been ended by the first round submission, and the first submission win of the UFC card. But Josh Holquist won. I mean, he had quite the mouth afterwards. He said he wants to do something with one of the other guys' mama, and also called Michelle Obama a man. I mean, now it's probably going to be heard around the world, and the Democrats are probably going to have that to complain about too, since they're complaining about the fights. But I think it was funny. I mean, I thought it was pretty funny, and I'm not going to lie. I thought it was pretty funny at the time. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I mean, Dana White doesn't have control over what they say. I mean, he might try to censor them, but he tries to have them have freedom of speech and not have control over what they say. But we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully nothing happens, but I don't know if he should have said that. But I thought it was funny. But best never TKO. Now we're up to our last 2 fights of the evening. Or 3 fights of the evening, excuse me. The one fight I won, and I'm pretty sure I picked Holquist to win. I can't remember if I picked Holquist or if I picked Lewis, because they're both Americans, but I think I picked Holquist to win. But congratulations to Holquist. Holquist definitely made a name for himself. And Holquist looks like he could be next in line to try to go fight for a heavy championship belt or fight for one of the UFC belts. No, UCF belt. That's college correct. But UFC belts. I mean, he looks like he can be one of the other upcoming great UFC fighters. So congratulations to Holquist, even though he has a colorful mouth sometimes. And then the one who I wanted to win, Sean O'Malley won. Sean O'Malley versus a Canadian guy. Luckily, just like the Winter Olympics, the USA comes over a victory over the Canadian. That's good, but Sean O'Malley was able to come a victory over the Canadian, and the Canadian was going to go home quiet. I mean, Sean O'Malley won that fight last night and won it pretty good. He looked pretty good. He came out with his red and blue colorful hair to honor the Region 360, which I like about him. He comes out with colorful hair, but he came out with his colorful hair. He had 1 knockout, but the other had 0. Knockdowns, the other guy had 0. He was 41 for 81 and TO strikeouts. The other guy was 32 and 56. I mean, it was a back and forth fight. I mean, it was a pretty good fight to have before a co-main event fight, and that was a pretty good fight too. He was 41 for 84 in STR strikes and 32 for 53 and 56 in SIG strikes. He was 32 for 66 in the head, and the other guy was 6 for 25 in head strikes, or head punches. He was 2 for 2 for legs, and the other guy was 26 to 31. So he had more leg shots, the other guy. He has 0.2 seconds of control, and the other guy has 0.0 seconds of control. The first guy I'm reading about is O'Malley, and the second guy I'm reading about is a Canadian guy, for those of you who don't know. So like 2.2 control is O'Malley, and 0.0 control is a Canadian guy. 0.0 takedowns, they both have 0.0 takedowns, 0.0 submissions. But Sean O'Malley won, and Sean O'Malley was definitely edged his name back in to being back in the competitor ranks again, like Holquist. He definitely put his name back in the ring to try to put a championship belt in. And he said he didn't know why one of the champions wasn't there at the fight. So hopefully that teases for the next fight for Sean O'Malley, because we need to see Sean O'Malley have gold again in the UFC, because the UFC needs Sean O'Malley to have gold. But that was a good fight. I mean, Sean O'Malley definitely showed up. He had a great entrance. I'm glad he went back to his old entrance song, because I think that's what helped him win too. But Sean O'Malley won, and that's the one fight I wanted to win for the night. And that was the one fight I wanted to win, Darren. I want to win. But congratulations, Sean O'Malley. Sugar Sean O'Malley won his fight. That's nice. And the nice of the United States beat the Canadian. And victory by punches too. I mean, it's nice to see the Canadians win. See the Americans win over the Canadians, since they did in the Olympics. I mean, two people from the Winter Olympic team were there. But also, it was nice to see that a lot of the fans at the UFC Freedom 260 were supporting our troops. If you support our troops and you watch it, thank you for supporting our troops. Or if you support our troops, thank you for serving our country and for your sacrifice. I support our troops. That served now, that served in the future, and that served in the past, and that served before that, and that sacrificed their life. This is a salute to you. Thank you for serving our country, and thank you for protecting our country and protecting our freedom. But like I said, that was really nice to see all the military branches there, and to see them enjoying the fight. I mean, a lot of people enjoyed the fight. It was nice to see the military have fun and enjoy the fight. It was also nice to see the military salute the fighters who are coming out in the Oval Office, and to see all of them walk out with some of the military members too. Trump definitely put on a great show last night, and so did Dana White. Now we're at the co-main event. Alex Pereira from Brazil against CirylGane from France. I mean, this was a good fight. This is round 2, round 27. I thought this was going to go to the third round, because like the other fights, the first fight ended in the first round, or second round. The second fight ended in the first round. The third fight ended in the second round. The first round, excuse me. I read too fast. And the fourth fight ended in the second round. I mean, the fourth fight, but I thought this was going to go the distance. And I thought O'Malley might go to the third round too, but both of them ended in the second round, and then to go to the third round. But STACHE won, and STACHE made a name for himself. He's 14-2 now, and Pereira is 13-4. He had 1 KO. I'm talking about the winner, Gane, and the other guy from Brazil had 0. The guy from France was 54, Gane, out of 86, and the guy from Brazil was 22 out of 33 in TKO and TOT strikes. SDI strikes were 54 out of 86, and the other guy was 12 out of 53. Head strikes were 39 out of 17 for the guy who won from France, Gane, and the Brazil guy was 3 for 20. He was 1 for 3. The other guy was 4 for 4 in body shots, and the guy from Brazil was 1 for 3 in body shots. He was 11 for 11 in leg shots, the guy who won from France, and the other guy was 8 for 10. He has 0.12 control. His control was 0.12, and the other guy's 0.0, and he has 2 takedowns, which was probably the most takedowns so far, and 0 submission attempts. I mean, that game looked pretty good. I mean, that guy from Brazil looked pretty good too. I mean, that was a good fight, and he definitely put a name for himself in the co-main event to be a name to reckon with in the UFC here to come. But that was a great co-main event, and now we have a main event. The highlight reel is Justin Gaethje. It's looking to make a highlight and making one of the biggest upsets in the UFC modern day history, and one of the biggest upsets. And Justin Gaethje is getting older. So will Justin Gaethje be able to get a championship belt before Justin Gaethje retires? He didn't say anything last night because he promised his mom, regardless of what happened, he wouldn't say anything in the moment. But he is getting older, so let's hope he can win. He's 27-5, and the other guy coming into the fight was 17-0. So it's going to be a pretty hard fight for Justin Gaethje to win his first UFC fight. And this was a fight pretty gnarly too. Justin Gaethje beat up Justin Gaethje beat up Ila Torpia's face. Ila Torpia's face. Ila, or how do you say his name? I think that's how you say his name. Ila Torpia, or whatever, or Torpia. His face was pretty messed up. The guy that the highlight reel was going against, his face was pretty messed up. His eye was really swollen really bad. He even had to go to the hospital afterwards, spoiler alert. And I saw today he might have a broken orbula. But he's not going to be able to see well for quite a while, this guy. He's going to definitely have a big shiner and a big puffed up face today because he had a pretty big swelling yesterday. So he probably won't be able to open his eyes for the next couple of days. At the end of the third round of this fight, the medical doctors were trying to call the fight, but for some reason, the corner of Torpia, T-O-P-U-R-A, that's how, I don't know how to pronounce it because he's from a different country, but Torpia, the corner of him, they're trying to say that he's still ready to go. El Matador's corner, I'm going to call him El Matador because that's Torpia's nickname. El Matador's corner was saying that El Matador was still ready to go and still able to see well enough to fight. Because if you can't see well enough out of one of your eyes, then the referee or the corner of the other referee might call it. And call in the favor of the guy who's winning. And be a stoppage by injury or by stoppage by the ref, so they don't blind each other, or so they can see well enough and not get hit bad, I guess. But the show went on for at least one more round. At the end of the fourth round, they called it. At the end of the fourth round, they finally called it. What the hell are we going? Oh, here we go. My bad. At the end of the fourth round, they finally called it. After 5 minutes out of the fourth round, it looked like it was going to go the distance, but they called it, and it turned out to be somebody in the El Matador's conference, Torpia's conference, or corner, excuse me, El Matador's conference, Torpia's corner, that called the fight. And your new winner and the new champion and the new undisputed WWE champion is Justin Gaethje, the human highlight reel. This is probably one of the biggest upsets in modern day UFC history because a lot of people thought going into the fight Torpia or El Matador would probably win that fight because he had a 17-0 record. But Justin Gaethje from the United States definitely put a name to himself and kept the belt and kept the undisputed world heavyweight belt in the United States. That was a great fight to see. That was a great main event. It went all 4 rounds, and one of the guys got pretty beat up. He might still be in the hospital trying to recover from that. The El Matador, and might have pretty bad eyesight for the next couple of days. But this is the tail of the tape. Let's go. El Matador had 1 knockdown. The winner, S. Gaethje, the new champion, the new world heavyweight champion, had 0 knockdowns. The new champion, S. Gaethje, the human highlight reel, was TOT strikes were 119 out of 228, and the other guy was 111 out of 177, and the 111 out of 177 was El Matador, the one who lost. He's now 17-1. His SGR strikes for the winner, S. Gaethje, the human highlight reel, were 91 out of 129, and 97 out of 126 for the guy who lost, El Matador, who's in the hospital trying to recover from eye surgery now, or from a hurt eye. It's going to be interesting to see what the aftermath is of that fight is, because as late last night, or early this morning when I saw the thing, Dana White didn't have much information on him, but he said he was in the hospital recovering from his face. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to El Matador's face. He's going to definitely have a pretty swollen eye, and pretty swollen eyes for the next couple of days, and maybe next couple of months, or next couple of weeks, because that was a pretty gnarly fight. If you haven't watched it, you might want to watch it, because that was a great fight. His body was 8 for 12. His body punches were 8 for 12 out of the champion, and the other guy was a 37 out of 45. His legs are 4 out of 5, and the other guy's 5 out of 5. His control for the guy who won was 132, and the other guy's control was 232. So this is the first time that the other guy has more control over the winner, but he won by corner decision. I mean, El Matador's brother said El Matador still wanted to go, but for some reason somebody else called in El Matador's corner, which I mean is good. I thought they were going to call it at the end of the third period when his eye was pretty swollen shut and he looked like he could hardly see out of it. I mean, he's one tough cookie for going at least one more round with a pretty messed up eye, and got even hit more in the eye and more in the face during the fourth round. But he's one tough cookie. But congratulations to. And the other guys went for 3 and takedowns, and submissions were 0. But the human highlight reel, Justin Gaethje, definitely showed he's a highlight last night and made highlights in that fight and made probably top 10 highlights. And Justin Gaethje is our new world heavyweight champion. But as I said before, I thought it was a pretty good Freedom 250 fight, and I thought Donald J. Trump put on a great show. But with that being said, we'll talk more about that later maybe. If you want me, we'll talk more about that. But I thought Donald Trump put a good show on. I'm glad of all the winners. I mean, I know some of the Brazil guys won over the Americans, but I'm glad they won. I mean, I'm glad it was a good fight, and I'm glad there was no people trying to protest and no weather discrepancies. And I'm glad everybody had a good time and enjoyed themselves. But, I mean, that was a good fight. It was nice to see the fight on TV. It was nice to see the fights on Paramount Plus. That definitely was good. I can't wait to see when Paramount Plus comes out to see how many people watched into that. So I'm curious to see how many people watched in. But, I mean, I know some people are trying to say that this is a barbaric and that this isn't good for the United States and this is not showing. But I think it's a good showing for the United States. And I think Trump and Dana White put on a great show for the recipients of the UFC. And that was definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I think they lived up to all the hype. For the first time in 53 years, the New York Knicks are NBA champions after winning Game 5, 94-90. I mean, they came back and won that game, too. And me and my dad were watching that game, and we kept on saying, why aren't the Spurs playing Harper when Harper's doing a lot better than Darren Fox? They kept playing Darren Fox Center near the end of the game, and Darren Fox, for some reason, wasn't doing good. But I don't know why Mitch Johnson, the young basketball coach, didn't play Dylan Harper in the last couple seconds. I mean, congratulations to the Knicks. The Knicks deserved it, and they played a lot better. And it looked nice for fans to burn down New York too bad. I mean, there's a couple burned down buses and a couple people getting hurt. But, I mean, they did a couple riots because some New York fans can't control themselves and like to riot. But congratulations to New York. The MVP was Jalen Brunson, which is good, which is well known because Jalen Brunson had 42 points in the game to win it. He was on fire that game, and they could not stop Jalen Brunson for the life of them. So Jalen Brunson had 42 points in that game, and I think he tied the Knicks to the most points. They had the most points by a New York Knicks in the closeout game, or in the Game 5. OG Anunoby had 11 points, or he had 45 points, excuse me. Jalen Brunson had 45 points, so that's why he well deserved the MVP award, and congratulations to the New York Knicks. Now that that's over, we'll see what happens. The Bulls reached a deal to hire Splitter as head coach. Splitter used to play in the NBA, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Wizards star suffers a fractured foot and has surgery. And after that, I think the Knicks were on like a 9-game win streak on the road, and they had one of the great road wins I think when the Knicks won on the road in San Antonio, I think they're on like an 8-game win streak, and they ended up winning on a 9-game win streak. So that's pretty impressive too to see that in the NBA, even though I was waiting for the Spurs. And then last night, even though I didn't watch it, I kept the score update on my phone because, like I said, I was watching a great UFC fight. And congratulations to all the winners again, which we'll get here in a minute. The Hurricane, I'm done talking about UFC. The Hurricanes won 3-0 over the Vegas Golden Knights. They had 1-1-1-1-1 in each of the periods. And the consummate winner was Jordan Staal, who used to play for the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is well deserved because Jordan Staal was one of the shining players in this Stanley Cup final and in the Stanley Cup. He got a lot of goals. He had a goal for every game in the Stanley Cup, besides the last game. I don't know. I don't think he had a goal in the last game. But he had a goal in every other game. So congratulations to Jordan Staal. And he's also the oldest player to win at like age 38 or whatever he is. And the Conn Smythe MVP award for the NHL. He's 37 years old. He's the oldest player to win the Conn Smythe award, so congratulations to him. Taylor Hall had the first goal assisted by Jacob Salvin and Jason Blake. Jason Blake, assisted by Logan, had the second goal. And Nicole Edwards had the empty netter to help secure Carolina's second win. So Lord Stanley this year will be going back down near the south, but will be going to Raleigh, North Carolina. Congratulations to the North Carolina Hurricanes on winning the second Stanley Cup. And now that hockey's over, that's over with now too. But congratulations. Congratulations to both the New York Knicks and the Carolina Hurricanes on winning. Both of the teams both won on a row, so that's interesting. One took 5 when the New York Knicks won at 5, and a gentleman's sweep had the Spurs win 1. I think it might be Danhausen. Danhausen's a character from WWE that curses people, and it was on the first take of Stephen A. Smith. At first, Stephen A. Smith was being a jerk to him, and he cursed the Knicks, and they went down 2-1 to the Atlanta Hawks. And then after that, he uncursed it on Knicks because some Knicks fan paid him in human money to live the curse. And after that, the Knicks went on a tear and only lost 1 game. So Danhausen could be one of the persons to help in that victory. I know the New York Knicks looked really good too. I'm just joking, but we'll see. I think the Mets beat the Reds tonight. I think the Cubs beat the Rockies. I think the Tigers beat the Astros. I think the Pirates beat the Athletics tonight. Geez, that's a late game. I guess we're on our West Coast trip. Sun Hill Park in Sacramento, California. Hopefully the Pirates win tonight. But it's going to be interesting to see what the bullpen does. The bullpen has been pretty bad of late. That's why we lost yesterday on Sunday. We could have had a couple chances, but for some reason one of the Marlins guys robbed us when we could have had another chance. But I think if our bullpen came in, I think it might have been the blowout loss anyway, even if the ball would have dropped and we got a couple runs in. Because our bullpen is just really bad the last couple of weeks and the last couple of months. We finally have good hitting for the Pirates, but we don't have a good bullpen. They need to change that by the trade deadline, and that's something they need to change. We'll get more to that tomorrow. I think the Dodgers got swept by the Chicago White Sox. That's surprising, but I think they lose tonight again to the Tampa Bay Rays. I think the Marlins beat the Phillies. I think the Nationals beat the Royals. I think the Cardinals beat the Padres. I think the Rangers beat the Twins. And I think the Diamondbacks beat the Angels. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting fight. Interesting baseball, excuse me. And the men's World Cup games will go with scores in the schedule from Saturday's and Sunday's game. The World Cup is doing pretty good so far. Brazil tied 1-1. So I got that one wrong. Switzerland and Croatia tied 1-1 too. Scotland won 1-0 over Haiti. Here's the Sunday's games. Australia won 2-0 over Turkey. Germany smashed Qatar, whatever, butcher that. 7-1. I don't need to butcher date correction too. Netherlands and Japan tied at 2-2. Ivory Coast won 1-0 over Ecuador. Sweden won 5-1 over Tuscana. I think Belgium wins tonight over Egypt. I think Saudi Arabia wins over Uruguay tonight. I think Iran beats New Zealand. I think Iran beats New Zealand. If that's the right ones. I think Saudi Arabia and I think Belgium beats Egypt. But we'll see. We'll talk more about that tomorrow because the World Cup is now in full swing and one of the most sports going to be watched right now since NBA. Congratulations to New York Knicks and NHL. Congratulations to Carolina Hurricanes won. But I'm still jazzed excited about that fight last night. I know it was a good fight, but that main event didn't even start until 12:40 last night. But it was a good fight. I thought it was going to be over a lot sooner since it was in Washington, D.C., but it was a good fight. Congratulations again to Lopes, who won by knockout and TKO in round 2 from Brazil. Congratulations to B. Nicole from Penn State. who won 9-1 in a TKO knockout. And I told my dad that at least one Philadelphia guy and Kyle Dukas was getting paid to knock out people and not doing it for free because Philadelphia likes to knock out people because Pittsburgh doesn't like to punch each other. But that's just a joke. That's a joke. Congratulations to M. Ruff from Brazil, who's 14-2, who won another one, and 15-2 now. I guess I don't know if they updated it. And round 1 at 429 by knockout TKO. Congratulations to Hulkwood, even though he called Michelle Obama man. But I thought it was pretty funny. He won by knockout TKO in round 2. I mean, I thought that might have gone to the round 3, but that didn't. Congratulations to Sugar Sean O'Malley. And Hulkwood and Sean O'Malley have definitely put their name, like I said, in the UFC and put their name in the contention. And still has them all. Nickel and all of them have put their name in the UFC lore and have definitely set up and definitely put on a good show for us. And so did the main event and the co-main event and Steve Gaethje and Pereira from Brazil in the human highlight reel and El Matador. They put on a great event, but congratulations to Justin Gaethje. I mean, I'm glad Justin Gaethje won. Justin Gaethje has been a really decorated UFC fighter, a great UFC fighter, so I'm glad he finally got his belt before he hangs it up. I hope he doesn't hang it up anytime soon. I hope he comes out and tries to defend his belt and tries to have a couple of decent matches afterwards. But if it is the end of him, congratulations to Justin Gaethje, the human highlight reel. You're definitely a human highlight last night, and that's probably one of the biggest upsets in the UFC of late. I mean, a lot of people probably betted on El Matador to win. But I mean, I can't believe that they let it go after the first fight. His eye was really messed up. He's not going to be able to see well for quite a while, but that was a great fight. And he definitely showed the fight and definitely showed it up. But Trump came in at the end of the fight to congratulate Justin Gaethje and talk to Justin Gaethje's mom and parents. That was nice to see. And they had nice fireworks at the end, too. I mean, that was a great fight and great event. I'm glad to have, like I said, I'm glad all the military members are there and thank you for serving our country and all that. But thank you for watching that episode of Stache Sports. This is Stache Sports signing off.